Hey everybody, Act 3 of this week's Extra Time, and let's get it on. Several intriguing matchups this weekend, none bigger than Seattle's visit to Chicago. The Sounders got back to their winning ways last weekend, and their shutout ways, actually. Casey Keller has yet to give up a goal this year, which is, we've said it all week, actually pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, it's amazing that when you said, let's get it on, you didn't start dancing, but I think this should be a terrific game because we have questions about Chicago being dominant at home. No question they're a good team. Depth in the lineup, Blanco back in there, Ralph's still on the bench, Justin Mapp. They just have too many players. Right. But they have yet to show they can be dominant at home. If you're the Chicago Fire, this is a very big game.
Well, Seattle has actually gone off and they had one win at Toronto on the road, and then they lost to Chivas on the road. Maybe there's a question about playing on turf versus not playing on turf, right? They played Chivas on grass, Toronto was on turf, now they're on grass again. Yeah,
that's definitely, I think, a factor early on. I think as the season progresses, they'll get more acclimated to playing on grass fields. But more than the surface, they're going to have to contend with a Chicago Fire team that we've talked about. They have a load of weapons, so if you're Seattle, I really think you have to be cautious. You've got to stay organized. You don't want a wide open game. There are players you've got to mark, and then you have players like Jakwa and Lundberg and Freddie Montero that can go get you a goal.
Right, and Steve Zakuani, the rookie who scored a big goal this past weekend. Of course, they have to deal with Brian McBride, right now leading MLS in goals scored with 5. Pretty impressive. Now, also on Saturday, the Columbus Crew will try to get their first win of the season. However, they have to go to the top of the East, Toronto. It's never easy at BMO Field. The crowd's going to be crazy. They're playing for the Trillion Cup. I'm still not sure what that really is. But this is a game that Columbus, they really need to get something out of it. Just get something going.
Greg, if I'm the Columbus Crew right now, I'm really concerned. I am worried. And this is the worst place in the league for them to try and go get a win. I like the Toronto team. Stefan Fry has been doing the job in goal. They have Sutton on the bench. I like them in the back. I love Carl Robinson, Cronin. When De Rosario and Guevara are healthy, they're talented.
And speaking of the back, I mean, I've been impressed with what Adrian Seriou has done. I think he's actually been the biggest pickup, even more than Dayro, even more than Fry. I think what he's done to steady the back line, pretty impressive.
He has surprised me because I've always thought he's a good player. I never thought that was his best position. I thought he was more of a Shalry Joseph, tough defensive midfielder, but to have Carl Robinson in that role, he's slipped into the back and he's been great.
Yeah, Serio doing very well. Toronto, as we said, top of the table right now, but they still have the coaching situation that's coming in, right? It's been announced this week that Cummins will be the interim coach for a while right now.
That seems to be the smartest move. Again, they have an organization from Mo Johnston on down that really seems to be in place. And if the team were going to fall apart, it would have been in the game against Kansas City. They were flawless. So I think they have a real team there. Cummings is going to step right in. He knows the team, he knows the players, and it should be a smooth transition.
Well, let's hope so for Toronto's sake. Now, a couple of teams that had horrendous outings last week get a chance to rebound. We'll start with New York at Los Angeles. It's kind of a funny one because LA is bending but not breaking. No wins, but only 1 loss out of 5 games. New York, they just keep pulling a Bruce Springsteen style, 1 step forward and 2 steps back. How does this one shake out?
Well, I am really looking forward to this game because I think for the LA Galaxy, we've talked about it, they're getting better organized. If they have a strike partner up top like Buttle healthy to go with Landon Donovan and Gordon, I'd give the edge to LA. New York has always done well out there.
Yes, they have.
But can New York recover from what, for me, is the worst victory in the history of the franchise?
Worst loss, you mean?
Yeah, worst loss, absolutely. And they thought they had a victory. That was their problem. They're going into the end of the game. They've come back. They've got the 2 goals. They're leading DC United. To give away 2 goals like that, that's horrific.
Defensive errors all over the place on that last goal, especially. Well, New England and Houston square off at Foxborough on Sunday afternoon, a match with a lot of history. These two have met in several finals lately. Superliga final last year, MLS Cup final in 2007 and 2006. The Revs were shellacked at Real Salt Lake last weekend. How do they recover against a Houston side that seems to be finding its stride right now? I mean, 2 shutouts in a row for Houston.
I think, Greg, this is going to be a tough game for New England. And they'll recover mentally because Stevie Nicol and Paul Mariner are that good. They'll make sure the guys...
And Matt Reese is going to be back in the pipes.
That'll be a huge addition for them, although I don't think goal was really the problem against Salt Lake. Houston is playing better. They still don't have the consistency in the attack that I would like to see, but defensively they've organized. They shut things down. They're doing well at the back. I think this is going to be a very close game.
See if Brian Chin can maybe get on the target again. It'd be good for them. Finally, there is the Rocky Mountain Cup. Shep, you and I, we both hate these made-up names for rivalries, but we've said before, this is a real rivalry. These are two teams that over the years have come to not like each other a lot. And, you know, there is a lot of pride at stake for this one.
Yeah, this is not a manufactured rivalry.
No, it's not.
They hate each other,
right.
And it's a great matchup. But that's the key, the matchup. I know you like the midfield of Salt Lake, and I do too. Quality.
Morales, Beckerman, Mathis, Johnson.
You talk about well-balanced and the ability both to defend and get forward. Yeah. You know, they have the ability to defend and get forward. But I think Colorado's going to bounce back. I think they need a good game. Right. It's at home. Connor Casey.
Yeah, needs to get back on track.
He's got to get back on track.
Right.
So, again, very tight. I'm giving the edge strictly on home field advantage to Colorado.
Wow. Okay. That's for you to say. I'm actually going to go with Real Salt Lake on this one. That's all we have for you this week on Extra Time. But you can always email us at extratime@mlsnet.com. And join us next week, and we'll stick around.